Hello, folks. Welcome back to my channel. This is Hortown, and today I'm bringing you another Halloween movie review for you. And this time I will be moving on to the third installment, the third entry in the franchise. And this one is none other than Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Quite an interesting title, isn't it? So, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. What is this about? So, this is actually a 1982 American science fiction horror film, according to Wikipedia, that was written and directed by Tommy Lee Wallace. And this movie, big shocker alert, is actually a standalone film that has very little to do with the previous films. As a matter of fact, it has nothing to do with Michael Myers, quite bluntly. And it is actually another kind of take on the whole kind of Halloween film series. Now, most of you are probably not familiar with this concept, but Halloween was supposed to be some kind of an anthology series, which means that, it would have featured different stories, different characters, and not the same kind of, plot and the same characters, the same villains, right? It was supposed to be something different than that. But obviously, it didn't really pan out because this movie was the only kind of, you know, the same concept was not, revisited afterwards. It's just a standalone film, but it wasn't supposed to be like this from what I've heard, from what I've read. But anyhow, this is still an awesome film to review, so it's still part of the Halloween franchise, so we're going to be reviewing it regardless. And yes, and as you will see from my review, I will let you know about what I really think about it as I move on with the review here at hand. So, nevertheless, let's move on to the movie itself. So what is this movie about? What's happening? What is the main storyline? What does it feature? What does it portray? What does it have in store for the viewer? So this movie takes place around October 23rd, 1982. This is when it begins. So we have basically, yes, it takes place in Northern California. And we have somebody named Harry Grimbridge, who's a shop owner, who's basically being chased by some men in suits, right? And he's clutching this Halloween mask, this jack-o'-lantern. And basically, yes, he's being chased, and he's gonna end up in a hospital, and something pretty gruesome is gonna take place. I don't want to tell you what it is because I want you to find out for yourselves. But yes, basically the doctor in charge of his care, of his treatment while he is there at the hospital. Yes, the doctor's name is Daniel Chalice, and we learn a little bit about him, obviously, because he's our main character. So he has an ex-wife named Linda, and they both have children together. They had children together named Bella and Willie. And yeah, he loves his children, but, he has a kind of strained relationship with his wife, with his ex-wife, I mean. So basically, yes, we're introduced to the main character. So he's the doctor there, and he's gonna be there, trying to help with what is happening because the person who's brought down to the hospital is not making a lot of sense. He's kind of, it seems as if he's delirious at some point. It seems like he's scared that somebody is chasing him, is pursuing him. So yeah, something else is going to happen afterwards, but I don't want to tell you what it is. But basically, it's going to precipitate a series of events that are going to lead our main character, what is his name again? Daniel Chalice, to go to a town named Santa Mira in California, along with a woman named Ellie, right? And I'll let you find out for yourselves who she is. She's actually kind of related to one of the characters, but I don't want to tell you who because I don't want to spoil too much or anything. But basically, they're going to go there to Santa Mira. And this is actually, yes, I didn't mention that before, but there's the Silver Shamrock Novelties Factory that is located there. It's kind of its hometown, I guess you could say. And basically, Silver Shamrock is a big theme in the film. As a matter of fact, whenever you hear some advertisement on television, with the Silver Shamrock, masks, Halloween masks, it's actually related to what happened in the beginning, right? But I don't want to spoil too much or anything, but you have this advertisement, this commercial that keeps playing over and over again throughout the movie. And it's basically a kind of countdown to Halloween with a big giveaway that will happen at some point, and this is what the children are basically kind of, you know, they love to watch this commercial and they get all giddy and excited. So it's pretty much how it goes. This is the main element of the story. This whole silver shamrock concept, right? So yes, as I said, not Harry, sorry, Daniel is gonna go down to that town alongside Ellie, and they're gonna make some discoveries there about some discovery about one of the characters. So yes, I don't want to tell you exactly how. I want you to find out for yourself. So that's why I'm sorry if I'm not making a lot of sense, but I'm oblivious. I'm kind of omitting a few major things on purpose, right? In order not to spoil for you the experience in case you haven't watched the film already. But those who have watched it, yes, they know what I'm talking about. So they're gonna check in into that motel, right? And they're gonna stay together. They're gonna, stay in the same room. And basically, yes, once they're there, they're gonna notice some strange events that are gonna happening. Some strange, you know, things are gonna take place around this town of, Santa Mira, California. For one thing, also there's a curfew at some point, so the residents are not allowed to go out after I'm not sure when, by sunset or something like this. So yes, it's a pretty ominous town. You have it's a little bit like these it's an Irish kind of town in a way, but at the same time it's kind of American. You can see the motels and everything. So, you know, the infrastructure, it's all American, but in a way it's kind of Irish as well. It's one of these communities, I guess you could say, within America that is kind of that stands out a little bit from the rest of the towns because of its quite different setting, you know anyhow, yes. So basically, yes, they're gonna be there. They're gonna stay there, and there's actually somebody named yes. There's the Silver Shamrock Factory. I don't know if I mentioned that, but basically, they're gonna decide to go there to basically, kind of check the place out for themselves. And the factory owner, is named Colonel Cochran. And our main character is going to grow a little suspicious of him. Yes, what is our main character's name again? Daniel, right? So he's going to decide to kind of, investigate a little bit. And yes, these events that are taking place in that town are going to make our main character realize that something might be up, right? And that, there might be something, wrong going on, and that he has to try his level best to stop it. Him alongside his friend now, Ellie, in order for them to kind of, you know, try and prevent this whole kind of big giveaway from happening, from occurring, because this could mean trouble for the children and, a lot of people. So, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, in a nutshell, what did I think about it? Man, this is excellent, excellent, excellent. And I actually loved this film. And I don't know how much I could emphasize this enough, but I'll refer back to one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. He's a horror movie reviewer. His name is Michael, and his channel is Strange Michael. He also did a Halloween-a-thon kind of review series, right? And he reviewed this film and he loved this film. And I believe he considers it to be one of the best Halloween movies, if not the best one in the franchise. I can totally relate to that feeling, to his thoughts. I loved Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. It is an awesome film, an awesome take on the whole kind of Halloween, franchise, even though it didn't really work out from there, since the concept was, it was canceled because, people, I think, wanted Michael Myers to return. But I think that this movie is definitely, a gem, right, within the series itself. And this is a movie that is very underrated. You don't hear a lot about it or at all because people are basically, more into the whole Michael Myers kind of, storyline, which I understand, right? Since I'm actually, Michael Myers is kind of this Halloween, iconic figure that people associate with the series. There's nothing wrong with that. But this one, therefore kind of slipped through the cracks. I didn't even hear a lot about it. All I heard about was that it's a Halloween film. It's the third one, but I didn't know much about it. Even the title didn't, quite at first appeal to me, so I didn't know what to expect from it. But then when I watched it, I realized that I was missing out all those years without not having watched it. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is definitely an awesome film. I love the beginning. I love how it begins with the whole chasing scene, with the hospital, the main character, these mysterious men who are gonna cause some damage, who are gonna be, wreaking havoc, in town, and our main character deciding to, go down to that town alongside with this woman who's very, the actors are awesome. They did such an awesome job, and we'll get to them in a second, God willing, but or maybe more than a second, but that's just an expression. Yes, in a few moments, perhaps. So, yeah, basically, yes, I really love this whole concept with the town, the Irish town, the town kind of, not lost, but a little bit, in a remote place. You need to drive down to get to it. It's kind of mysterious, the whole mysterious menace, ominous, eerie aspect of it really, really works. And this movie definitely has some of the most brutal kills, I've ever seen in a Halloween movie. And there are even gonna be some scenes involving bugs, cockroaches, snakes, and ooh, that was so good. I really loved it. I mean, this is such a a fascinating sight, but at the same time, it's terrifying. Definitely, Grayson, who's actually reviewing the Halloween movies as well. Well, 3 years ago, that is, he reviewed all the films on his channel, or most of them anyway. And he mentioned that he's also an awesome YouTuber. Please check out his review of this film. But he basically mentioned that, yes, he felt a little bit, uncomfortable as he was, watching this scene with the bugs, and I can totally understand. I actually myself really, really, liked it, but yeah, it made me feel kind of, yes, you see these crawling bugs, insects. It's terrifying. I can totally, relate to this feeling as well, which reminds me of a supernatural episode, which is the eighth one in the first season, Bugs, called Bugs. It's a little bit like that in a way. So I really liked how, yes, maybe it borrowed from this film a little bit, kind of. I don't know, but I really enjoyed this scene with the bugs, and it's creepy. The masks are awesome. They look really scary, especially the pumpkin, the jack o' lantern. There's a witch mask. There's a skeleton mask. Wow, they look so refined. So the way they are designed is definitely a stroke of genius. So I believe that everybody who participated in the making of this film did an awesome job. I know that there are many documentaries. I would really like to watch them a little bit, because this is the kind of, this is definitely up my alley. I really loved this film, all the elements of it, all the different concepts, the whole Silver Shamrock kind of novelties, Silver Shamrock novelties, concept, everything was so good in this film, and it definitely played out very well up until the very ending. And yeah, this was really, really good. And there's also a scene, by the way, involving, a kind of commercial. And for those who are wondering, is this movie related to Halloween or not, the rest of the franchise? The answer is no. As I said, it's a standalone film that has very little to do with it, or nothing at all, as a matter of fact. But, in fact, there's actually a scene involving some footage from the Halloween film. And I'll let you find out for yourselves what that means, because I want you to find out for yourselves. I'll let you do so. But basically, yes, there's a scene involving some footage from the first Halloween film, and the way the music plays out of this television is the music, the theme, it's not distorted, but it's a little bit different. Wow, I just loved it. I don't understand how come it's not spoken more about, right? So even though it's not related to Michael Myers, you still have that kind of, you know, I guess loose connection to it in a way, right? So I really, really loved it, the way the music plays, and you have, it's a scene involving Lori, at night. It is so good. It is so good. I don't understand why is it not mentioned, in by even people who haven't necessarily liked this film, but at least I really thought that this was good. So, yeah, perhaps we should move on to the actors now before getting a little bit ahead of myself here. It's been 15 minutes already, so I'm going to try to wrap this up in about 10 more minutes, God willing, because there's so much more to tell. And this is one of my favorite films in the franchise, definitely. So we have Tom Atkins, who plays Dr. Dan Chalice, our main character. Awesome actor, really, really good. The way he plays, it just feels like he's a natural, right? He's a really talented performing actor. Then we have Stacey Nelkin, who plays Ellie Grimbridge, who's gonna be his, kind of unofficial sidekick, so to speak. She's gonna tag along with him and go to Santa Mira, California. She's gonna go down with him to that town. She's also really, really good. She's a beautiful actress. She plays, wonderfully well. She's really, really she did really well in this film. Then we have Dan O'Herlihy, or is it O'Herlihy, as Colonel Cochrane, right? Dan O'Herlihy. So he was also really good, and I liked also the whole Colonel Cochrane kind of, I guess he's not actually. Yes, I don't want to spoil too much or anything, but you don't really know whether he's a villain or not as you watch the film, and when you reach the ending, you find out for yourselves whether he is or not. But I really kind of like this whole mystery surrounding him. He's the kind of, you know, figure that that kind of makes people afraid in a way. At some point you're going to have one of the locals kind of being freaked out, and yeah, there's this whole Cochrane kind of you know vibe to him. Like he's kind of this character that you don't want to cross, you don't really want to mess around with, because he's kind of the big guy in town in a way, because he's the owner of, I think he's the owner of that place, of the whole Shamrock factory. Yes, is he the owner? I'm pretty sure he is, or something like this. Yeah. So yeah, that's the guy who is kind of making the residents afraid a little bit. So after that we have Michael Corey, who plays Rafferty. Then we have Ralph Straight, who plays Buddy Kupfer. Gordon Stevens plays Marge Gutman. Then we have Nancy Kais, who plays Linda Chalice, who is pretty good. Jonathan Terry plays Stalker. Mady Norman plays Nurse Agnes. Patty Edwards plays Secretary. Dick Warlock plays Assassin. Yes, who was actually in Halloween 2, if I'm not mistaken, who played Michael Myers, didn't he? Then we have Joshua John Miller, who plays Willie Chalice. And yes, is it Chalice or Chalice? I'm not entirely sure. I apologize if I mispronounced the name. But yeah, those are the main actors and characters. I believe that this is pretty much it, yes, those are the main actors, the main characters. So, yeah, I really liked the whole plot of the film, and it's definitely one of my favorite Halloween films. I really liked how it begins and then it evolves. The music in this film is awesome, especially even the beginning with the opening credits, as Michael mentioned in his review. Yeah, the whole opening theme, when you have kind of this computer generated kind of, footage as the movie begins. You have, lines, you can see it. It feels like a computer kind of thing, like a video game at some point, and you don't really know what to expect. From this film. At first, when I saw this, I thought to myself, what could it be like? It's kind of interesting. It's kind of, yeah, kind of funny in a way that a movie would begin like this, especially in the 80s, when technology was pretty good, but not exactly the same as what it is today. So one might have wondered, what could it be? What could this movie be about? And then as you move on with the chasing scene and everything, you find out, what it really is about, and how much of a good time you're about to have. So yeah, Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. If I were to rate this movie on a scale from 1 to 10, I think I would give it a 10 out of 10. Definitely an awesome, excellent film. I loved the heck out of it, and everything that happened in this film, the whole plot, the whole concept, the way it evolves as you go on with the scenes and everything. It's interesting. It is engaging. It keeps you at the edge of your seats. It is scary. It is gory. It is really, really well put, well placed. It's as you move on from one scene to another, there's that consistency. The pacing is good too. It's not too fast or too slow or anything like this, but just exactly how you would want it to be. So I really, really enjoyed, everything about it, the whole plot, the whole moving around, the way the camera also shoots at the scenes, the way it is shot. This film was awesome. And yeah, I'm really also happy that what were their names? John Carpenter and Deborah Hill came back to produce this film because it is definitely a good film that shouldn't be that should still feature their names, in my opinion, because even though it's not related to Michael Myers that much, it is still awesome and it is still a very good movie to to help with the making, to help produce. This was definitely a good film, an awesome film. As a matter of fact, it's excellent, really. So I liked how the camera kind of moves around as you have the characters being shot, being filmed, and you have the whole town with the motel. The scenes at the motel were really, really good. Especially there's going to be a scene involving some graphic content. I don't want to tell you what it is, but the way it is shot, the way it appears on camera, it is terrifying. It is creepy, right? And there's a lot of creepiness in this film too. There are a lot of scary scenes with, like I said, the bugs is one of my favorites, and yeah, the masks are scary. They're definitely very lifelike, very scary looking. So definitely Halloween 3 is a gem in the Halloween franchise. And then, of course, you have the ending at some point, obviously, as you near the end of it, the movie, as the movie draws to a close, you basically have a big twist, by the way. And some people didn't really enjoy the twist that much, for what it was. And yeah, my friend Grayson didn't really like the twist in the end. At first, I wasn't crazy about it, but I kind of understand why this twist would be in the Halloween movie, in this film, in the ending, because it kind of fits well, right? One has to say it fits well within the story, the plot, the main storyline. I think it's pretty good. It's kind of, yes, it definitely is sad in retrospect, perhaps, of what we thought at first. But hey, it's a Halloween movie, horror movie, so you got to expect the unexpectable, as they say, right? But yeah, I kind of enjoyed the twist near the end. Those who have watched it know what I'm talking about, and I would never say it right in this movie review because this would definitely spoil everything. But those who have watched it know what I'm talking about. I thought that this was a pretty good twist for myself. But then basically, as you reach the ending of the film, it's going to end up with kind of a cliffhanger, and it definitely shows that there was supposed to be more. The concept was supposed to be explored a little bit more, perhaps in another film, in the fourth movie, maybe in the sequel to this one, but we never got that because the movie was canceled. The concept, the whole anthology take, route, whatever you want to call it, was basically aborted ahead of its time, which is a little sad. I would have really liked where it would have gone from there. But hey, on the positive note, they couldn't have ruined this film, therefore. So even though it ends with a cliffhanger, it's a good thing too, because it keeps us. Sometimes it's good to have suspenseful endings, mysterious endings, when you don't know where you reach the end, and as the movie ends, it keeps you guessing, and you can kind of think up your own ending, kind of wonder what would have happened. It's good too. I read a lot of Goosebumps books, and most of them have an ending like this, a kind of cliffhanger sort of ending. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for me for Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Excellent film. Loved it. Loved the concept, the premise, the atmosphere, the vibe, the characters. So 10 out of 10 for me for this movie. You know, it's just excellent. What about you, folks? What did you think about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next review, God willing, for another Halloween movie review. In the meantime, folks, stay safe, goodbye, and take care. This is Horror Town signing off.